Yann,
Allô?
bonjour, vous allez bien?
Oui, c'est vrai. C'est
Ça
qui?
va, ça
C'est
va.
Odile?
C'est Odile, ouais, caché
Oui,
derrière le logo.
d'accord.
C'est un peu tôt, hein, Pascal m'a dit, ouais, c'est quoi? C'est 8 heures, c'est trop tôt. J'ai dit, écoute, ouais, c'est pas moi qui ai coordonné ça, c'est Inès, mais je pense que c'est parce que vous, ça vous arrangeait de faire cette heure.
Enfin non, moi j'ai pas de contraintes particulières hein, sur.
D'accord.
Mais oui, c'est vrai qu'avec la réflexion, 8 heures, c'est 8 heures à
Mais
Montréal.
ouais, et ici au Mexique,
Effectivement.
il va être 7 heures du matin. Donc, ouais, c'est là que j'ai réalisé, j'ai dit aïe aïe aïe, c'est un peu tôt, mais c'est pas grave parce que de toute manière, ça sera, on va le mettre dans les vidéos. Donc, c'est enregistré et puis ça va quand même être partagé et puis on va le mettre sur les réseaux sociaux également. Donc, il n'y a pas de souci.
Ok.
Donc, bah, écoutez, si vous voulez, on commence.
Ouais. Du coup, juste par rapport à la.
Alors, la présentation, oui, de toute
Oui.
manière, moi après, je vais éditer, hein, puis j'ai repris un petit peu des détails, des petits détails, hein. J'ai enlevé vous aviez mis, on pourra le voir à un autre moment. Attendez. C'est moi qui vais passer les slides.
Ok.
Et
Oui, c'était ma
attendez.
question.
Voilà. Et donc, vous avez quoi? Vous avez 7 slides. Donc, non, non, c'est parfait. C'est la bonne quantité. Et puis moi, de toute manière, tout à l'heure, je vais éditer la vidéo et puis on enlèvera ça, cette petite discussion.
Oui, oui, ok.
Donc, mais sinon, on peut attendre un petit peu, hein. On peut attendre que Pascal et les autres arrivent.
Je le fais en anglais de toute façon.
Oui, 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 oui. Ça dépend des marchés que vous cherchez. Si vous cherchez que le Québec, on peut le faire en français.
Non.
Et si vous voulez plutôt US et tout ça, si à un moment donné aussi vous pouvez le préciser, c'est bien de, à la fin de mettre à quel marché vous recherchez. Bonjour Jérôme.
Oui.
Voilà, on commence dans 5 minutes.
Vous voulez.
Donc l'investisseur, c'est le monsieur qui est, enfin le propriétaire, hein, c'est le monsieur qui est avec vous sur la troisième photo. Euh,
Oui,
Tim,
c'est.
il
Non,
s'appelle
alors
Tim.
le nouveau propriétaire, c'est la personne qu'on voit sur la deuxième photo, si on prend
Ah,
à
sur
gauche.
la deuxième, d'accord. Oui, vachement jeune, hein.
Mais oui, oui, 30 ans. Et à droite, c'est Frédéric, c'est mon collègue avec qui je travaille depuis le début au château Magdeleine.
D'accord. Ok, c'est super. Vous allez nous raconter tout ça.
Je,
Là, vous êtes dans le chai
virtuellement.
ou c'est un faux écran, vous savez, parce que Pascal, il met derrière les plages
Non,
tropicales ou c'est un vrai
bon.
chai. Les
Mais
plages tropicales.
en ce moment enfin, à Bordeaux, c'est pas ambiance tropicale, donc
Il fait chaud partout, hein. Il fait chaud
c'est.
partout.
Ah
Ah,
non, mais ici, il fait pas chaud, il pleut.
ah, il fait
Ça,
c'est plutôt la mousson.
ouais. Ah oui, oui, non, c'est infernal en ce moment. C'est-
Ok, non, je regardais aux États-Unis, il y a le heat dome. C'est un phénomène, c'est une sorte de vague en format d'oméga qui s'est plantée sur l'ouest américain. Donc, depuis l'Oregon, tout ça, des zones qui normalement sont très fraîches, très,
Mm.
très tempérée et plutôt fraîche parce que c'est là qu'on fait du pinot noir. Ils sont en train de cuire,
Ah oui.
littéralement de cuire, ouais. Ils sont à des températures qu'ils ont rarement vues. Puis la Californie aussi, donc je sais pas ce que ça a donné au niveau de tous leurs raisins. Ça va griller.
Ouais, ouais, oui, c'est vrai que bon, le Californie encore, je pense qu'ils ont plus souvent des températures un peu chaudes et un climat un peu sec. Après l'Oregon, oui, je pense que c'est un petit peu plus arrosé en temps normal quand même.
Oui, oui, ça dépend. Ouais, il y a des montagnes et tout ça qui font la protection, vous savez, le rain shadow. Mais là, on avait invité aussi des wineries d'Oregon, de Washington, de Californie, tout ça. Et en fait, beaucoup, ils ont dit, bah, on n'a rien, enfin, franchement, on n'a rien à vendre parce que tout est avec le smoke taint. Vous savez
Mm.
ils ont eu les feux et tout ça, donc
Oui,
ils n'avaient pas grand-chose à présenter. Ils ont dit, bah non, ça sera pour une autre année. Et puis là, cette année, je sais pas ce que ça a donné pour le raisin, hein. Ça va être compliqué.
oui, bon, je sais pas. On va
Bon,
voir.
qu'est-ce qu'il fait, Pascal? Il prend son café. Pascal, on t'attend. Tu vas te connecter? Tu as l'invitation, sinon je te la renvoie. Okay, so let's start the presentation. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have with us Yann Couturier from Château Madeleine-Bouhouf and Château Punard. He will present the domain, both of the domain, and he will provide us with some clarifications about the French certifications. So Yann, welcome and thank you for being here with us. And the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks for welcoming me and hi to everybody. Yes, so in this presentation, I will maybe introduce quickly our two property. So we have two small or medium property and soon a micro distillery. And in a second time, I will try to present the different label and certification we can find in France. And for this presentation, I will, for the certification part, I will start really shortly to understand what's the constraint and what can be the problem for the wine grower, and to explain a little bit the difference. We'll try to explain this, and I'm interested in this because we are engaged in the organic conversion, and also because now every day we have a question from the direct customer, but for professional every day, even professional need to know maybe better what's the difference between all this certification. So we can move, yeah, thanks, Odile. We are based in Bordeaux region, so on the right bank of Bordeaux in Blaye appellation. These two properties, so Château Madeleine-Bouhouf and Château Punard, are two historical property created decades and century ago. But knowing a new dynamism, the last year, purchased by Andrew Ekin. So me personally, I started working for Château Madeleine-Bouhouf for almost 6 years now. And Andrew, he was a former wine retailer in London, and he started purchasing Château Punard in 2015. 2 years after, he engaged the conversion, so in 2017. And early this year, in 2001, we started the discussion a long time ago. He purchased Château Madeleine-Bouhouf. So we can see it's more or less the same kind of property in terms of size. And so now we still working to find an organization between the two property. The idea is to keep the identity of each property, but create some interaction in terms of commercialization, to share an idea between the winemaking and the two property. So that's definitely create a new dynamism for the property, and with some new project like the creation of the micro distillery. We replant some plots for white mainly, and we create as well a gîte to welcome people. So a lot of projects, but still the same state of mind and spirit to manage this as a small team, like a real family business, and trying to be independent from the vine to the bottle and to control our commercialization. So France and abroad for export. And on the last decade in Madeleine-Bouhouf and since the beginning in Chateau Pinard. Many investments was made in terms to increase every day the quality of the wine. So the investment in material for the vineyard or in the cellar. And for example, in Magdeleine Bou, from 2010 to 2013, all the cellar was rebuilt to allow the plot vinification and to identify year after years the best plot or the characteristic of the plots to produce the best wine from each plot. And so that's allowed to develop our skills in terms of in winemaking. We moved to pigeage, for example, for all our vinification. And year after year, we increase the quality of the wine. And in Pinard, Andrew at the beginning do the same, not exactly with the same material. For Magdeleine Bou, we vinifying 100% concrete, and for Pinard, he decided to have a diverse style of winemaking. So he used stainless steel, concrete, but also some barrel from different sizes. So it's interesting because now the range of our wine from Magdeleine or from Pinard are more diverse. For example, they propose rosé in Pinard. We never do rosé in Magdeleine Bou. They have some 100% barrel vinification and aging, more like an American wine style. Really interesting in Pinard. It's the kind of thing we never done in Magdeleine Bou. So this is really interesting. And maybe we can move to the next slide. And so in terms of organic conversion, those properties are definitely engaged. And for people who don't know, the organic conversion needs 3 years. So when we decide to move to organic, to be certified, you need to grow your vine during 3 years by respecting all the rules, like a normal organic certified property. And you can claim and put on the bottle the logo only at the year's number 4. So most of the time here, for example, in Magdeleine Bou, we start the conversion in 2019, but we really start to respect the rule in 2017. So during 17 and 18, it was 2 years like a test to be sure we were ready in terms of material and human, because both are really important when you decide to move. Our chance is to have not a huge domain, so we can spray, for example, all the domain in 6-7 hours. So that's allow us to be really reactive and of the year and the climate of the year. So yeah, we engaged in 2019, so we will be officially certified in 2022. Chateau Pinard engaged in 2017, so it's already certified with the last vintage 2020. And because I will talk just after, we start in both property to propose some no sulfate added wine. So it's a little bit different than the organic, but we will see after. And for example, I just put on the Magdeleine Bou slide for the fun fact that As I explained, between 2017 and 2018, we worked by respecting the rules, but it was not official. And during this time, we launched a crowdfunding campaign to help us to finance some investment. Here it was in order to be able to buy a new tractor. It was really interesting because it was quite successful, and it helped us to create like a real community around this project with all customers, but we also find new ones. So it was really interesting during the year 2018 to follow this crowdfunding campaign. So this was for more the introduction about the property and where we are with the organic conversion. Now, I will talk maybe more about the in general, not only about Magdeleine or Château-Pinard, but just in general. And starting to trying to understand the difference of the label and certification in the wine industry. And so first, it's I think for people who are not wine grower, it's important to understand what's the difference between this certification and this label, and what's the everyday problem of a wine grower. So we grow vine, but it will be the same for if you grow tomatoes or any fruits or vegetable. During the 6 months of the year, from February, March, when the vine start to grow, we have two main enemies: the fungal disease and the pests that we have to manage to be able to harvest some good berries. So this can be basis, but it's the most important is to harvest good berries in order to make good wine. So this more or less 6 months will be the most difficult in the year of a wine grower. And after the harvest, of course, we have the 2 or 3 months of winemaking. And here we have many possibilities in the winemaking process. And here again, the label will impact the work of the wine grower. And other certification will be more about the estate management, more in for the everyday work of the wine grower. So in the tab just under, I identify different certification. So I make some separation because for myself that represent different kind of philosophy that we can easily separate. So after I will detail, but I put the two main sustainable agriculture certification, that Terravitas and HVE, so for haute valeur environnementale. We have, for me, a real difference. We start with the organic wine, so maybe the most, and certainly the most famous and recognized certification in France and Europe. And after we start with the biodynamic wine, and after different other indication. So if we start with the sustainable agriculture, or haute valeur environnementale, those certifications are quite new compared to, for example, the organic wine. Here, the philosophy is to think about the estate management in a more global way. So many aspects of the estate management are present in the rules of this certification. For example, they pay attention about your water separation to separate clean water to dirty water from the cellar. They will talk about not only the vineyard, but around the vineyard, how you manage to pay attention to keep the grass, all these things. And this is the global idea of this certification. To be certified, it's more easier because it's shorter. If you already respect the rules, you can in 1 or 2 years be the certification. And about the wine growing, how to fight the different diseases. Here is the main difference with the organic or biodynamic. Those labels, they encourage to limit the chemical product, but they do not prohibit the use for the wine grower. And so this is the reason why I make the introduction with few words on the different enemies. It's because this is the heart of the fight for the wine grower. It's to use or not chemical product. We have just to understand one thing. It's when we talk about chemical product, it's the product you use will be more efficient because it will penetrate in the plant, for example, or for example, if we talk about fungal disease, for example, the mildew, one of the most famous, you can, even in HVE or Terravitis, you can use product that will be efficient for 14 years. Sorry, 14 days. After, we will see when we move to organic and much more after in biodynamic, this kind of product are definitely banned. So you will need to use a contact product, a product that will be efficient. But if after rain, for example, you will lose the efficiency of this kind of product. So if we move to organic wine, and if we think about the general philosophy, and if you take the rules book, the organic wine, it's more focused on how you grow, what product you can use or not, and for winemaking, what process, what product you can use or not. So it's more restrictive, more focused on the wine growing and winemaking. And so as we saw on the former slide, it's 3 years of conversion, and you will be certified on the year number 4. Why this 3 year of conversion? It's mainly because when you start to organic conversion, you move from chemical product to this more natural product, mainly copper and sulfur. And to the chemical product, even when you stop to use this kind of product, they are still present in the soil or in the plant. So when they create the organics, they decide, okay, we will need 3 years at least, clean a little bit the environment, the plant and the soil. So organic wine, you are focused more on natural way to grow the vine, and so limit the intervention for winemaking. Some winemaking process can be not authorized in the organic, and yeah, so we will limit for the vine, for the grass, the use of chemical products. For biodynamic wine, so Vivin and Demeter, the two main certification. For organic, I put the two logo that represent the same. It's just one AB is the French one, and the Liv is the European one. But it's not two different certification. For Biodivin and Demeter, it's two different company. We used to say Demeter is more restrictive than Biodivin. But anyway, if you want to move to the biodynamic, you need to be first certified organic, and after you will have 3 more years of conversion. So it's quite a long way when you want to move from sustainable agriculture to a biodynamic. And most of the time, the biodynamic will be more restrictive in terms of quantity of product you can use. The important thing is also the introduction of the moon calendar. So I still have a debate about this, but it's definitely an important thing when you move to biodynamic. And they will as well introduce other more natural products to try to fight against the disease. And the last column is the different indication, like the vegan, the natural, or no sulfates, or bee friendly. For example, it can be a complement. You can produce a vegan wine, even if you are Biodivin, organic, or Terravitis. It's okay, something totally different. Vegan wine is not the most complicated to propose on the market, because you have just one process in winemaking when you want to clarify the wine a little bit, that you can use eggs or fish, but really easy to produce vegan wine and to use only organic ingredients in your winemaking. Natural and not sulfates. Most of the time, when they talk about natural, it's mainly about the level of sulfates. But they start a few months ago. An association was created in France here to try to create some rules to define more the what can be a natural wine. So most of the time you must be organic and have really a low level of sulfates, even if you can use a little bit of sulfate. And bee friendly will be more like certification that the wine grower have if he put something around his property that can help the habitat of the bees. Okay, on the next slide, maybe we'll introduce more the different technical impact on wine growing and winemaking. I already introduced a little bit this, but for example, for the 3 most important parts of wine growing and winemaking, the weed control, that can be quite difficult. Depend on the soil. If you are on a hilly property, it will be more complicated than a totally flat property to control the weed. So in Terravitis and HVO, the chemical products are still allowed. They encourage the limit of their use, of course. It's not banned. They start to be banned from the organic to the biodynamic wine. So here you have to invest, if you don't have, in a mechanical machine to control this. Different systems exist, but you need to be more present. So the inconvenience in this, it's you will use more gas, more petrol, because with one way with your tractor and with chemical product, you will kill the weed for a long time. When you use chemical, you need to be there more time. So the two negative impact is the use you use more petrol, and you can pack a little bit more your soil. So this is for the weed control. For the grapevine pests, so as we already talked, this is really a big issue in the wine growing. In Bordeaux, for example, because of the climate, we have many rain. It can be warm, so it's really the perfect condition for the fungal development. So here, this is a big issue. And for the chemical products are still used for terravitis, for HVE, for example. And for organic wine, like for the weed control, here it's banned. So we use natural products such as copper or sulfur, and the limit, the rules put a limit at 4 kilograms per hectare, and this volume of 4 kilograms have to be used on 5 or 7 years. They just changed last year. So, for example, you can use 1 year 5, and the other one 3 will be in the limit. So, but anyway, when you are engaged in this way, the idea is to limit the maximum. Copper can be integrated in the soil, but if you use too much, that creates pollution as well. So, and exactly the same for the weed control. The copper or the sulfur that you will use after a big rain, you will need to protect your vine again. So you can use more petrol and pack a little bit more the soil. It depends on the climate of the year. If you have the perfect season without many rain, you will not use more petrol than the sustainable agriculture. But if it's a difficult year, you can use more the tractor to protect your vine. So that's this protection for the biodynamic. So exactly the same, the chemical products are banned. Biodynamic introduce as well natural preparation. Most of the time, different kind of preparation with plants. That can help the vine to have more resistance against the disease. For example, in the Demeter, the copper limit are also reduced to 3 kilo hectare per 3 kilo per hectare. And yeah, different preparation and compost are used for fertilization and the microbial diversity. And in terms of winemaking, so there are not a lot of restriction for the HVE or terravitis. Just a little bit more restriction in organic wine. For example, with the level of sulfates. I took the example for the dry red, the most produced wine. For example, we have to be under 100 milligram per liters, and some winemaking practice are limited. But to be honest, this is definitely not the biggest problem. To be organic, it's not the winemaking is not the biggest problem. And in biodynamic wine, it's more restrictive with less sulfate allowed. Yeast have to be a natural yeast, and the winemaking practice are more limited than organic. So they are more restrictive in terms of winemaking for biodynamic wine. And in winemaking, we can talk about the natural or non-sulfate added, or for vegan, because it will be the most important part for this other indication. So for vegan, as I told about before, it was about the filtration, finding agent, the key point, because L-galbumine or fish bladder are avoid. But now you can easily find other way to do the filtration without using fishing or L-galbumine. And natural or no sulfate added. So now, if you work well, if you harvest really clean berries, if you be careful really on your run, it's possible to produce non-sulfate added without default. For example, in the chateau, we start 3 years ago to produce some without sulfate. So it's for the moment only with wine easy to drink or to drink young. And we just really pay attention for the bottling day to work with people who we really take care from the vat to the bottle to protect all the pipe and all the bottle in order to limit the default in the wine. So this is for the presentation for the different elements. So in conclusion, I will say like a little bit in the introduction. In my opinion, there are really a difference between the first certification, like the HVE or TerraVistis. This certification are for sure a really good introduction for a property who have the idea to move to organic and maybe after biodynamic wine, because they are really a good introduction to take care about the environment of the property. But to stop the chemical product is really a step for the wine grower. So it's the reason why I really put the difference between the two first one, and after the organic and the biodynamic one. So as we saw, we both have negative impact. For the first one, you still use chemical product, and for the other one, you can be end of the year, but you can use you can pack a little bit more your soul, depending of the machine you use as well. If you do everything if it's okay, no problem. But if you do with a tractor, yes, of course, you will pack a little bit more your soil. You will use more petrol, but you stop to use chemical product. And I think for me, it's something really important. And biodynamic wine are really interesting too as well. Maybe more or less complicated, depend of your wine region. But we now, with some feedback, we can see that the quality of the wine, the quality of the berries are better and better when you move to more organic way to grow the vine. So, and after, of course, it's an investment. So depending of the size of your property, of the number of people you have to work in the vineyard, it can be more or less complicated to move to the organic wine. So I think it's important to for property to have a reflection, maybe take 1 or 2 years to try before engage officially to organic. But it's I think the way we have to move. And in terms of in other indication or label, I think maybe they will continue to evolve. More and more we hear about natural wine. We see a demand growing, and we see they start to be a little bit regulate. So I think the continue will continue to the organic wine will continue to evolve. Some indication will continue to evolve, but I think it's a good thing because that push everybody on the to be more respectful from the environment, and yeah, so I think it's definitely the way to go.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup, Yann. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So do we have questions for Yann about these presentations, about the 2 domains that he's managing, so Château Madeleine Bou and Château Punard? And I have a question is about the plans of the distillery. So what type of products are you expecting to produce?
So for the moment, we are, as we know in France, sometimes it can be long with the administration. So no, it will be like we say micro distillery because we talk in terms of a liter per day allowed to distill. So it will be something normally between 100 and 200 liters of alcohol that will be allowed.
And this is the l'eau de vie or brandy or cognac?
The idea was
no cognac, but
was produce. Oh, gin will be certainly the first spirit.
Yes, okay.
So quite fast, and after we definitely want to produce some whiskey. But we need to age for 3 years at least before produce our own whiskey. So we already start to age some sample or make tasting with different wooden sample with distillery in Ireland. So
nice.
Now we are more in phase of test. And Alambic is under construction, so we all hope for early 2022, the first period.
You'll share some photos then of the distillery.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, definitely the going back to the certifications definitely is the way to go. And anyway, the consumers are requesting that they take care of their health and also the planet's health.
Yeah,
so very insightful. Pardon.
Sorry?
So I said it was very insightful to understand all these differences, mainly because in TerraVitis and HVE, I don't know, we see that every day on the labels and everything, but it's interesting to have all the specifics. Est-ce qu'on a des questions? Vous avez des questions? Otherwise, we are done. We will start the presentation of Morocco in a few minutes.
Alors, me, I have a question. It's from the West. It's the people yesterday. They see the conference and they can be with us this morning because it's too early for them. But they told me, Pascal, it's nice, this conference, but when it's the question of quality, the buyers are always okay. When you talk about the quality, organic, all that, they say, yes, yes. But when it's the time to pay more because it's organic, they are never very happy. So, Yann, what is your argument for close the deal?
So, for about the price,
The price. Yes.
I think with the time we'll find a balance between the
We are
cost
listening.
and because more and more winery move to organic, so I think that the price will to increase a day, but for sure it can be at the end of the year the price of the production in organic can be a little bit higher because you will need to pay more people to protect the vine. So as you know, in France, when you have to pay one employee more, it's at the end the tax represents a small impact on the price. Hence, you can use more hour of tractor or spray, and so that can explain a little bit the price. But honestly, I think more and more I think the example of our property from Magdalene Bou, when we start to develop the property, trying to be more independent, we try to fix a fair price. When I talk about fair price, in a price that allows us to work too small on quality and not always on volume to produce bulk wine, and we don't increase the price because the wine will be organic. So
okay,
I think it's not a wrong debate, but you can definitely now find organic wine with a really good price in all the region from France, for sure.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time, but I receive a lot of requests, so perhaps it would be possible to talk with you after the show, and you can answer, because I receive a lot of call about the HVE. A lot of people, they are HVE, and now everybody saying it's completely organic. So the buyer don't understand too much. I think we must give them a good education between all this difference. But I will send you the question, and you can answer directly them.
Yeah, when I do the presentation, it's always delicate because sometimes there are I don't want to create a opposition between
exactly
HVE or organic, because all properties are different and everyone has his own problem in terms of size, in terms of slope or all. So the idea is not to create an opposition, but I know HVE are quite pushed here in France because it's more, if we have to be honest, it's much more easier to be HVE than organic, officially organic. So it's important to understand, and it's the reason why I try to introduce shortly what's the problem of, or not the problem, but what's the everyday work of a wine grower. It's to fight against some disease, and what they can use or not to fight against this. And
because you know you are in the right target here for the Quebec. So the people, for example, I talk about Quebec because we are in Quebec. So the wine grower, when I ask them if they are organic, they say, yes, I'm HVE.
Oh, so, yeah.
So, you know.
For me, it's, you could say you are organic and HVE. I wouldn't make a separation between the both, but for me, it's not organic, but
it's a big difference. So we must be careful. Thank you, Yann. I will send you the question directly.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, thank you all. Bye-bye.
See you.
Hop.